we're going to see them use a staff. So everyone is obsessed with who's the one, the two. Let them use their staff the way that they've been put together. This staff was put together very particularly. That's the point. Yeah. Let them use the staff. Quit worrying about who's going to be the arm at every given inning against every given team in a series. Let them use the staff and let everyone do their job. That's what they're there for. That's what a staff is for.
That's one of my absolute favorites, DJ Sanchez. She was DJ Mathis when she was playing at Oklahoma. She was a pitcher under Patty Gasso, and she was legit. Also a college softball head coach. Now you see and hear her on the Oklahoma softball broadcast. She's great and can't wait to talk to her about OU's pitching staff at this point in the season. Remember, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. OU softball, SEC softball, it's what we do here. Here's more from DJ Sanchez. All right, so DJ, I really want to start here. You know way more about pitching than pretty much anyone that I know, and you certainly know more about pitching than me. But I'm smart enough to know that Sam Landry's really good. The numbers say it, the eye test says it. But why has she been so good? When you see Sam Landry, especially in SEC play, what are you seeing right now that she's doing so well?
She's just moving the ball. I mean, and the thing that stands out to Landry when you see her throw, obviously the velocity, right? It hits you in the face. She throws hard, but she's doing such a great job of actually being a pitcher. And I think part of that, we're seeing her veteranship when she's out there in the circle. And that's what this pitching staff needs. That's what this team needs. And she's doing such a great job of really placing her pitches and being deliberate in the circle. And, I think she's always been really good. We've known that. But I think what's kind of cool to watch is her, obviously missing the South Carolina weekend and then coming back like she never missed a beat against Tulsa, right? Just jumping in, runners like in the middle of a game, coming out of the bullpen, and then again, just showing how seasoned she is. But she's really doing a tremendous job of very deliberate pitch placement and just moving the ball through the zone and tunneling her pitches.
And she said this herself, and I don't think that she would say it if it wasn't true, but just from your vantage point, how much do you think the defense behind her, and that's no disrespect to what she had at Louisiana, but I think it's very fair to say that she's got one of the more elite defenses in college softball again this year. How much do you think that helps her out in the circle, just her confidence-wise?
Yeah, she is now throwing for arguably the best defense, if not one of the best defenses in the country. Always has been. Coach Gasso prides herself in this defense taking care of their business and having their pitchers' backs. But it's a lot easier to be in the circle knowing that if a ball gets put in play, there's going to be a play made. And we've seen it for years, but this pitching staff has been good because they're wildly talented and they're coached well by Coach Rocha. But it's so much easier to throw when it's not your job to strike out 8, 9, 10 batters a game. And, here's the crazy part is Landry can still do that. But she's able to really buy into this idea of letting your pitches work, throw your pitches through the zone. And when you get those chases or you get hitters to hit a pitcher's pitch, that your defense is going to be behind you to make the play. And again, it takes so much off of you in the circle, knowing that you don't have to carry all of that weight yourself. And again, that's the beauty of being a pitcher at the University of Oklahoma is you are always going to have you're going to have one of the best shortstops in the country up the middle in the outfield. I mean, it's just, it's amazing how many hits get taken away from this defense. And again, it makes being a pitcher on this staff a lot easier.
Oh, I can't imagine. And, with her, we've seen a lot of different personalities in the circle for OU over the years. I mean, you think back to Jordy after a big strikeout, she's stomping around in the circle and showing all the emotion. And that's one of the more interesting things that I think I've seen with Sam Landry is it's just calm, cool, collected. It's like nothing phases her whatsoever. Like big time SEC softball, I look the exact same as I did during the fall series when I was going up against my own team. So maybe I'm looking too much into this, and I'll ask you this, but just based on that and how, not that she doesn't show emotion, she just doesn't show that she's intimidated. When OU continues to play big games moving forward, I just don't feel like Sam Landry is going to be intimidated by the moment. What do you think?
Absolutely not. And I think she came to OU to be in those moments. That's why she's here. And I think one thing, and I like the fact that Landry is out there and just even kill. And I think we see that from quite a few pitchers on the staff, but I think that this is what that team needs. I don't think that this team needs, obviously there's different players outside the circle who are sparks for this team, but I think in the circle, this is a new staff. It's a relatively young staff. I think they need that consistent, just, I'm not going to get too high. I'm not going to get too low, because we're going to face all those moments. We haven't seen them too much yet on the low side, but we're going to face those moments, especially in the circle. Again, with a younger staff and a newer staff. But I think the fact that Landry has that composure, and again, she's not too high, she's not too low. You don't see that massive emotion. I think that helps keep this team as a whole even kill and poised. And again, we can talk about it over and over, but it's a relatively young team. And when you've got too high in the circle, I think that can throw you out of sync a little bit, especially when you have a freshman shortstop, a redshirt freshman third baseman. You've got sophomores all over, peppered throughout the outfield. I think that this team needs that calmness. So it's pretty cool to see it in the circle.
The expectations are so high with this program, which I think overall is a good thing, but oftentimes it creates overreactions from series to series. I remember a couple of weeks ago, there were, what's wrong with the offense? We're not good outside of Ella Parker, Cassidy Pick. I mean, things just change series to series. And now it's about, what about the pitching behind Sam Landry? So I'll just ask you a question that I see a lot in the comment section right now. Sam Landry obviously looks like one of the best in college softball. What do you think about OU's really starting rotation outside of Sam Landry right now? Is there any cause for concern about the lack of a number 2 pitcher up to this point?
Everyone is concerned, and that's part of the gig when you have a dynasty program like Oklahoma. That's part of the gig of, if they're not run-rolling people and shutting people out, how dare they? I think so much of this, Audrey Lowry as a freshman, what else do you want from the kid? I mean, that's a real, I mean that is a genuine question. What else do you want from the kid? She went out and she shut out or gave up 1 run against one of the best offenses, not in the SEC, in the country.
Yep.
And did it in front of a packed house on ESPN and just went about her business. And she's a freshman who got thrown into the fire and said, go ahead, kid, show us what you got. There are so few freshmen who can do that, let alone do it in a Sooner uniform, where there's that added extra layer of criticism, that added extra layer of pressure. I think Kirsten Deal, again, she has shown year after year after year that she will rise to the occasion, and she has. Has she been perfect up to this point? No, I think I've maybe been, on some of the broadcasts, she's thrown very well, but I think she has not peaked yet. We've seen Kirsten Deal be better. Not that she's been poor by any means, but I think we've seen her be better, and she will get there. And again, we've seen Monticelli come out of the bullpen. The fact that you've got some of those arms who are able to play different roles, I think is going to be key down the stretch. Again, how quickly people forget that Peyton Monticelli came in the national championship game and got 2 of the biggest outs in that game,
no doubt,
out of the bullpen. So I think that there needs to be some patience. And again, what else do you want from this pitching staff? Now, you're not going to win games giving up 8-9 runs a game. It's going to bite you eventually. But I think giving them a little bit of time to just get their footing. We're still relatively early, right? We're I'd say almost mid-season, but it's March. It's spring break. Couple weeks, we're hitting about a little over the midpoint, give or take. But seeing Lowry do what she's doing as a freshman, I think that's big time. And again, being able to go into those big moments, she's been huge. And again, Kirsten Deal, Isabel Smith as well. But again, we're going to see them use a staff. So everyone is obsessed with who's the 1, the 2. Let them use their staff the way that they've been put together. This staff was put together very particularly. That's the point. Yeah. Let them use the staff. Quit worrying about who's going to be the arm at every given inning against every given team in a series. let them use the staff and let everyone do their job. That's what they're there for. That's what a staff is for.
Incredibly well said. Just perfect. Well, and you mentioned a lot of it too, but there might be cause for concern if all of those pitchers that you just mentioned hadn't done it before on a big stage. You mentioned Peyton Monticelli on the biggest stage last year. Kirsten Deal has had several moments throughout her career. I remember mid part of the year, later part of the year, she was awesome, right there behind Kelly Maxwell. Isabella Smith, I don't know if there was a pitcher in college softball that entered this year with more overall career wins, and she had like a 0 ERA up until like two and a half weeks ago. And then Audrey Lowry, of course, who, if you look at South Carolina's offense, maybe Audrey Lowry's has the single best start of the entire year with that game on Sunday. So every one of these pitchers has done it at a very high level before. So they're allowed to get better and get more comfortable as the season goes along. I think you put that perfectly. But on the subject of Audrey Lowry, it's hard not to get really excited about her. Hopefully she's back soon. But what are we talking about? I don't know if you do, player comps or anything like that, but just kind of what do you, I know it's so early in her career, but it just feels like she has the chance to do something really special if she continues to improve.
That's why she's here. I mean, being a lefty, being a part of, there have been so many lefties go through this program. That's part of the reason I went there, right? I wanted to be a part of the dominant left-handers that went to the University of Oklahoma. I wanted to be a part of that. Lowry, I think, is no different. And again, I think what has really impressed me with her is her poise. And I can say it over and over, and I don't know if people really, truly grasp it, but it is hard being a freshman anywhere, especially as a pitcher when you're getting a substantial amount of innings and starts. It's hard. Add the layer of doing it at the University of Oklahoma with that microscope. And I don't know if people truly understand that layer of it. That's a hard job and a lot to carry as a freshman pitcher, period, when you're getting those opportunities. Now add the fact that you're supposed to be going out and in a lot of people's minds and shutting people out and being a shutdown pitcher every single day. That's a lot to carry. And I think that she's handled it extremely well. Her future is unbelievably bright. And I think the best part of all of it, she's just going to continue to get better. Again, and I think what's really great is she's got some of these upperclassmen like Deal and Landry and Smith, who can all help her continue to grow. Not just physically, but on the mental side of the game, and just help her be in a place where by the end of this season, we don't look at her as a freshman anymore. And that's invaluable for her moving forward.
She's going to only continue to get better because she's really good, because I think that she really has the want to be great. You mentioned the other pitchers around her. And, oh, by the way, she's got the best pitching coach in all of college softball as well.
Yep.
So that's another big reason, not just for her, but for the other pitchers as well, because Jen Rocha hasn't just done an incredible job with true freshmen throughout their career as they evolve, but her track record with transfer portal pitchers, even if they're here just 1 year, is exceptional. Again, you're way smarter than me when it comes to softball pitching, everything, but I'm smart enough to know that Jen Rocha is the best in the sport. But I'll ask you why. Why is Jen Rocha so good? What makes her such an elite pitching coach?
I love Coach Rocha. I never got the opportunity to play for her. I played, Coach Lombardi was there. And again, you want to talk about elite pitching coaches that have come out of softball. There's two right there. Two of the best to ever do it. Melissa Lombardi and Jen Rocha. And, I think for me, what makes Coach Rocha really awesome is so many pitching coaches want to get in this idea of, well, this is how we do it on this staff. This is how we go about our business. This is how I call games. This is how, I teach a curveball. She is so in depth with what makes each pitcher tick. And I think that she embraces their differences unbelievably, of not just their physical differences, but their mental differences as well. Of when you come into this program, this isn't just OU's pitching staff. What am I going to do to make you individually feel comfortable. What am I going to do to make you individually be the best that you can be? But I think with that, it's such a back and forth between Coach Rocha and her pitchers. Everything she does is tell me what you want, right? It's not ever this idea of this is how we're going to do things. And sometimes pitching coaches can be a little bit like that. So it's pretty cool to see her really put a lot of that accountability on the staff and the pitchers themselves of taking ownership of what it is that they do. And then she's there to guide them and help them do their best. But I think what's really cool about her is just her willingness and her want to let each of these women take ownership of what it is that they're doing out there, and really turn the reins over. And sometimes that's hard for a pitching coach, and I think that's what has made each of these pitchers really great, because they're out there running the show themselves.
Yeah. Well, you and I have talked about this before, and I said this on Sunday. It's just incredible that this program is able to do it year after year. You might get a jab in on Oklahoma. You might get a jab in. But as soon as you get a jab in on Oklahoma, they're going to come back with a devastating haymaker. It seems every single time. And again, that's been something that has been with the program for a long time. We almost expect it now. But that didn't graduate with all that historic class last year, because this team has it once again with so much young and so much new. That's maybe the thing up to this point this season that has impressed me the most. Have you been impressed with the 2025 team? Forget the program, the 2025 team's ability to punch back seemingly every single time.
They are fearless. When I got to see them for the first time in Waco back in February. And I walked away going, man, I had a lot of unknowns of kind of going, what is this going to look like? Like, and not just physically, you knew the physical talent was there, but I think my question was, how are these players going to handle this? Mm-hmm. And this is all encompassing, right? How are they going to handle it? And it's been really amazing to watch these players walk in, as a lot of them as freshmen, no less. I mean, Gabbie Garcia is a starting freshman at shortstop on the best team in the country.
High profile position.
That's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Hey, go run the infield, kid. You got it. Right? And then you watch Nelly Marinas. Again, really redshirt freshman and was in this program, but getting her first opportunities out there consistently.
And a captain.
Yes. Her leadership has been unbelievable. I've been so impressed with her and the way that she has just really taken this team over. And it's been really awesome to watch. Again, just in a very humble type of way, I think has been really neat. But this team is fearless. That's the best adjective I can put on it, of watching them go out and say, throw it all out there. Whatever happens, happens. And just trust the fact that we're prepared. And trust the fact that we're good enough. And I don't think any player walks into this program not thinking that they're one of the best in the country. But when you're a freshman, when you're a transfer, all bets are off. You don't know how each individual player, no matter how good they are, you don't know how they're going to handle it. No matter what program you're in. You don't know what that's going to look like. Potential is a scary word because it means it's all there, but how's it all going to shake out? So I think it's been really neat to watch this team just go out and leave everything on the field in everything that they do. I think that that's something, regardless of what the score is, regardless of what the stat line is. I think we're seeing a bunch of young players who are hungry to make their own mark in this sport and in this program.
You mentioned Gabbie Garcia, and look, I think we all had high hopes for her, and I thought that she was going to win out at shortstop before the year, and I didn't think that she was going to be a bad hitter. You're not recruited to Oklahoma if you're a bad hitter. I thought that she'd be a good hitter for this team. I'll be honest, DJ, I didn't think that she was going to have this much power this early in her career. 7 home runs in the last 10 games, and there's games where she's had multi-home run games. I mean, the defense is there. It's almost to the point where I thought this year, like Gabbie Garcia, what you're really going to be impressed about is the defense. And I think she's been good defensively. but her offense has been so good that I'm like, hey guys, pay attention to the defense. I know she's hitting the ball out of the park right now, but she's so good offensively. Everyone wants to talk about that, but she just really has been kind of a complete player up to this point. It's super impressed with her.
Absolutely. And I'm with you, Tyler. I wasn't sure what the power was going to look like. And again, I'm I'm not a big, oh my gosh, they hit bombs. How awesome. Like, right? Like your job's to get on base, your job's to hit gap to gap and put good swings on the ball, right? I think what has come out of Gabbie Garcia and others in this lineup is when you put a good swing on the ball's going to leave the yard on its own. And and I think it's been kind of cool to watch just her continue to develop. I mean, we talk about what she's doing. She hasn't even scratched the surface of what she can develop into. I mean, again, we're talking 8 weeks barely into her career. That she's a baby still, right? And the fact that she's able to go out and just see the ball as well as she has against some of the best pitching in the country, it's unreal. Again, especially early, you expect pitchers to be ahead of hitters. And I think once she got a couple weeks under her belt, she's been absolutely on fire. But I've just been so impressed between her and, again, we can go up and down 1 through 9, but watching her as a freshman show the discipline that she has shown in the box, not trying to do too much, not trying, and she's been putting some big moments, and coming up clutch the way she has. Again, I think it just shows the mental preparation and the side that she's able to go about her business.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of players that, after a couple of weeks, you could just really tell that they've settled in. And Gabbie Garcia at the plate, certainly one of those. But how about Nelly? Didn't play at all last year. And yeah, she was in the program, but I don't know, maybe it feels like you're kind of a true freshman all over again because you're not playing softball, as much as you have, really throughout your entire life. When I look at Nelly, I see a great third baseman. Patty Gasso's made the comparisons to Sid Romero. Like, that's not me. That's Patty Gasso saying that, so it means something. But at the plate, I just see a lot of natural power. Some hitters have a lot of power because maybe they have a long swing or they just really put everything that they got in each swing. It just seems like the power that she comes from her is almost effortless in a way. It's just she's able to generate a lot of natural power that maybe a lot of other players don't. What do you see from Nelly thus far?
Yeah, she puts a line drive swing on the ball, right? And we talk about natural power. She just has a good swing. It's mechanically sound. Everything about what she does in her pitch selection, she doesn't have power because she grips it and rips it and tries to hit the ball out of the yard. The ball leaves the yard because she has a good swing.
Yeah.
And I think she's one of those players named captain. She very easily could have come into the season impressed a little bit. And I don't think we've seen her do that. She's just really, again, taking advantage of her opportunities and just has really been a tremendous leader for this team. Again, I think this team needed someone who was humble, who was confident, and I feel like we're really seeing her be a tremendous leader, and obviously physically how she does things. But I really enjoy watching her and watching her interactions, with these young players. And she's a young player too. But as you mentioned, she's been around for a little bit. She's been around for a year. But watching her interactions of going, we've got this, but let's dig in and get to work. It's pretty cool.
Great stuff. I appreciate you. And speaking of great stuff, I really love you. Radio broadcast, TV broadcast, on the color, but you've transitioned to more of a play-by-play role. And I just got to say, I think you've done a fantastic job with that. So I guess this is my last question. All right, brag on you a little bit. Everyone listens to you. They think you're great. I hear it all the time. But seriously, how's that been? Because you've played at this level. You've been a head coach before. Now you're a broadcaster, so you've kind of seen the game from all angles, been involved in everything. But how was that going from a color role to now a play-by-play role? I would imagine that was pretty different, was it not?
Yes. I'm so thankful that I've gotten the opportunity to continue to stay around the program and gotten the opportunity. It's been so awesome. I've done this now for a really long time. And I remember the first time Coach Gasso called, and I was like, sure. I'm like, that sounds like fun. And it's really been something that has been a learning experience for me. And trying to just figure out what my niche is, and it's been really cool getting to learn from Plank, and being able to be a part of that process. The play-by-play is definitely something that's been different. I enjoy it. I think my husband makes fun of me because he's like, I can tell sometimes you're stressed out. And I'm like, it's because I am. But I really enjoy, the opportunity to get to do the play-by-play side of it too, because there's not a lot of female play-by-play people who are out there. So it's pretty cool that I've been given the opportunity to do that from time to time. I think I still like being on the color side. Like I said, I think that Plank and Chad McKee and these wonderful people that I get to work with on a weekly basis, they're the pros. So it's just been really neat to get to learn from them, and just continue to be a part of the program, because it's cool that I get to be such a minuscule piece as all of this has grown over the years. So I'm very grateful and thankful for all of that.
Well, you're the best. Thank you so much for your time, as always. Awesome stuff.
Thanks for having me.